So yes, I have severe hemophilia. I'll get a little into my story in a little bit. I'm also a burn survivor. I was burned 3rd degree, about 40% of my body. Kind of hard to tell. Arms, torso, kind of covered in scars. All ties into why I'm here specifically. But yes, I have severe hemophilia B. I love food. I love being very active. And I love kind of educating people on how those two go hand in hand and give me an ability to be as active as possible. Let's just jump right into cooking, and then we'll kind of keep chatting and everything as we go along. I'll go into my story a little bit more. And if there's at any point a question that comes up, you want to have like a reason as to why I'm using a certain ingredient over something else, unmute. I have the chat up as well. I'll do my best to kind of keep up with it. But yeah, with that said, I'll just kind of go over the ingredients. We'll try to get everybody kind of on the same page to start off with. So by, I guess, raise of hands, something like that, do a funny dance. Who's all cooking with me today? Sweet. We got Julian, Fam, Carol. I think Renee is. All right. Perfect. So mostly everybody. Okay, awesome. Cool. All right, so we'll start going into it. First things first, everybody have their chicken kind of prepared. You could do it however you wanted to. If you just got a rotisserie, if you wanted to grill it. I'm special, and I sous vide my chicken, a little bit of chicken stock and the Chipotle actual sauce itself. So I have kind of in the display, if you can see Taco Vision, you know, we don't have to change spotlight or anything, but if you could see it, kind of shredded one of the chicken breasts and left one up. Really good, easy thing to do is just take 2 forks. Don't drop the fork because you'll clean it. And just kind of take into one and just slowly just pull apart the chicken. And one reason I kind of sous vide this as well is since we're going to be cooking it a little later as well, I didn't want to kind of overcook it. But those char marks, if you grilled it or baked it, are really nice to have. So let's see, just get this done really quickly. A couple things that we're going to be needing, other than these 2 forks. You're going to need some sort of spatula, something to kind of stir around with. 1 large, like non-stick pan. If you want, you can use cast iron. I'll leave that up to you. That'll add a cool little flavor to it. Just make sure it's seasoned. And you will need a blender of some sort or a like food processor. I just go with like a little Ninja. If you don't have that, that's okay. You can actually kind of stir and mash everything together kind of with your forks. Or if you have like a metal whisk, you can kind of beat it up that way. But we're looking for like rough chunks, like something that's, you know, some hearty pieces of meat. So that should be what it looks like. All right, are we all kind of caught up, where we have cooked chicken, all the ingredients? I have 1 whole onion. This is kind of preference. I know in the recipe it said to have 1 sweet onion, 1 red onion. The red onion is just for a garnish. I actually prefer having the white onion on top. So limes, just however many you would like. We have our garlic. I'm a little bit of garlic fiend, so I've actually had, this is about 4 cloves of garlic. Have our cumin and oregano. Our cotija cheese. If you've never had cotija before, or if you were able to find it, taste it first. It is not like a queso fresco. It's a very like salty, almost briny kind of cheese. It's a really big, bold flavor. Cilantro. I'm sorry for any of you that have the cilantro soap gene. I feel terrible for you. All right, and then kind of one of the stars of the show are Chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. This is going to be a very like, I'll say mild, because to me it's a very mild pepper, but it's going to add like a really deep kind of smoke to the dish. My pan, you know, it's like a 12-inch, I'd say 12-inch base pan with about a 2-inch sidewall.
Is the adobo sauce for the peppers something we would have bought? Because I didn't see how to make that. I wasn't sure if we were going to make that, and I didn't see it in stores.
Oh, yeah. So did you just grab some Chipotle peppers?
I didn't even have those at my store, so I just grabbed whatever pepper this is. So that's
okay,
what
cool.
I got.
So it'll be a little different. Yeah, I should have been able to find like it just kind of comes in like a can already. If you want at that point then to kind of make like a simple one, whenever we throw everything together, add a little bit more olive oil. If you have like some crushed chili flakes, some chili powder, you can kind of start adding stuff in to try to get that kind of smoky heat. Or if you have a smoked paprika as well, just kind of add some of that stuff in there. It's not going to make a, adobo sauce for sure, but it'll get close. And then we have our crushed fire roasted tomatoes, about 3/4 of a can normally, or just over a cup. And just because, I like them, I went ahead and roasted up a jalapeno, and I'll be slicing, like kind of julienne, slicing that up and adding that into my tacos as well. And of course, corn tortillas. It's really preference if you wanted to get flour instead. I'll kind of touch on the nutritional benefit and stuff as we go about it. But really, this is kind of one of those recipes that, each ingredient you can almost like put on your finger. There's not that many. It's quick. It's easy. It kind of hits all bases of what would be needed for your day to go off on. And it's, like I said, it's quick. It's easy. You can make them like as soon as we're done, you get to eat them. You can make as many as you want. And it's great. So, all right, thumbs up. Are we caught up? Do we have this stuff going? Are we ready to get cooking? I see people prepping. Everyone's on mute. It looks like Ziva's running around her kitchen. I think we're all set. Okay. So I am actually going to move. Whoop. Oh, hold on. My phone had Taco Vision had a bunch of stuff going on. So I'm actually going to move Taco Vision and not break everything. All right. Technology is fun. Okay. All right, so I have my pan on, about medium heat. Toss in about a tablespoon, little over, of olive oil. You can use vegetable oil if you kind of want a little bit more of a char on your onions, or to kind of do more of a glazed onion. You can do that. I'm just using olive oil. No major preference. This is going to like saute the onion a little bit better than kind of crispen up the onion. You can, like this, kind of more authentically, this would be had with butter. I choose to kind of use butter very sparingly. I usually cook with more oils than I do butter. That's just lowering down on my saturated fat, kind of just trying to have a little bit more mindfulness as I cook. I kind of have a bunch of trade-offs, and you might see something that we're adding in not be incredibly healthy. I try to just trade that off and have balance in my life whenever I'm eating. If I can, the more cups of cilantro I eat, great. The more maybe I might be able to throw a little bit of butter in there. But okay. Mine's already hot. I'm cooking on gas, so it goes a little quick. All right. Next up, we're going to throw in our onions. Since I'm using one large, just sweet onion, I'm actually going to put in about 80%. So most of these I'm going to throw in. I'm going to leave a good bit kind of raw to throw on top of the tacos. Perfect. All right. So all that's kind of sauteing. It's going to take a couple minutes while we're getting in there. And yeah, so now I can kind of give a little bit of who I am. So like I said, I'm a person living with hemophilia B. I'm currently 27 years old. I live in Atlanta. I was born in Southern California. Went to my first summer camp when I was 7, and I got kind of hooked completely. My family, we moved up to Idaho whenever I was 10. But whenever I was 12, I was actually in a gas station fire that again caused my burns to be 3rd-degree burned about 40% of my body. And at that time, no one had ever really lived through severe burns with hemophilia. And so it really took a lot of work from doctors, both from family, our support themselves. So I was kind of stirring the onions. You'll start seeing them become a little bit more translucent and a little bit kind of that see-through-y look. And you'll also start to smell them and become really prominent. That's a good sign. If you're already seeing them kind of burn or get any brown, turn the heat down a little bit. It's one thing that my wife is terrible at, and hence why I do most of the cooking, is she's just like full throttle all the time. If she could cook with the oven on 500 degrees all the time, she totally would, and we get really charred food. But yes, I was burned, 12 years old. It was pretty rough. But I got these great opportunities. I got to also go to burn camps as well. And I really kind of had to really take care of myself. I was doing physical therapy every single day, like twice a day for almost 2 years. And I didn't really realize it then, but that was the time of my life that I was having the least amount of bleeds. I was having the least amount of problems in general with hemophilia. Yes, I couldn't really slide into home base and play football or baseball with burns, but I just wasn't in pain. After that, once I kind of healed, I kind of went off the deep end. I thought hemophilia just kind of went away. I didn't really have it anymore. Obviously, that wasn't the case. And I started having really bad bleeds again. And it wasn't until I turned almost 20 that I really started to put 2 and 2 together and realized that because of all of that physical therapy and because of how much work I was putting into my body, that's what was allowing me to be pain-free. At that time, since I did kind of let my hemophilia go to the wayside a little bit, I did develop some arthritis in my ankle, but it wasn't too late. Okay, so I'll pause right there. I don't know if you can see I'm starting to kind of get a little bit of that caramelization going on in the onion. And they're like a very yellowish tint. So at this point now I'm going to add my garlic. As well as my dried ingredients. So I'm going to add that cumin, that oregano. Let's see, Julian's dad. Since you didn't have the Chipotle peppers, this would also be where I added in the chili powder, some smoked paprika, and go easy if you have crushed red chili flakes. Go easy on those, but try to just make it basically red. So I'm going to add those in as well. This also helps.
You said paprika, and what was the other thing? Chili powder, you said?
Paprika, chili powder, and if you have a tomato paste, that would work. If not, you can kind of use the rest of your can of the tomatoes to try to add in a little bit of that sauce.
All right.
So by doing this kind of dry right now, I wanted those dry ingredients to kind of toast, to kind of open up like a little different flavor than they would if they were kind of boiling. So I want them to kind of get their own like little crispiness going on with the actual onions.
What did you put in?
So that was my cumin and oregano.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so you can see kind of color changed a lot. Now it's actually looking all kind of darker brown. That's not burned, that's just flavoring, kind of like myself. So I do like really weird, awkward burn jokes. You bear with me. You'll only have to deal with it for like 40-ish minutes, okay? We'll get through this together, I promise. But at this point, I'm gonna add in our Chipotle peppers. I'm doing 3. I like spice. If you are afraid of spice or just it doesn't work well with you, you can add in 1, but I would recommend adding in a little bit of sauce on top of it.
So Miles, I have a can of 7 ounces, so that will be good.
Of the peppers?
Yes.
No, I would take out, so I don't know if your peppers kind of look the same. I would take out an individual pepper from them And I just kind of quick chopped them up.
Okay.
Since that's in there now, I'm also going to add my chicken stock. Basically, that's just deglazing the pan, and our tomatoes. So again, this is about 3/4 of a can. If you kind of want it more soupy or kind of a richer or just more sauce-like, you can add in more, but that's going to be plenty. All right. Okay, now we just want that to simmer. So
Did you put in the salt yet?
I have not. I wait till kind of whenever all the ingredients are kind of in, because at this point now, that's kind of the bulk of our stuff. So as it starts to simmer, that's where we're gonna taste. And then we'll kind of just add salt as we go. Salt is a very necessary thing in our life. If you eat out, you'll get salt very naturally. One thing I like about cooking for yourself or just for your family, you kind of get to choose how much of anything you were kind of eating. And salt's one of those things that you can kind of take way too much of, but you absolutely need it in your life to actually function. If you were to just drink like distilled water all day, you would actually, get very dehydrated. It's a lot of the salt and a lot of the other things in water that actually help us keep going and have those minerals. So, okay, that's sauteing or just kind of steaming, simmering down. You'll see all those kind of bubbles. That's all you just want. We just wanted that to chill now for like 5-ish minutes.
Have we added the cumin yet?
Yep, yeah, so I added the cumin and the oregano at the same time in there, kind of with that. Once I had the onions, then it was garlic and the dry ingredients. So, yeah.
Okay, we need to add these.
The garlic, cumin, oregano, our chipotle peppers. If you want, you could also dice up. That looked like an anchovy or an Anaheim pepper that you bought. You could dice that up and toss it in. I would try to taste spicy pepper or a very mild pepper.
Did we put the cilantro on yet?
No, so the cilantro, I just diced up. Cilantro is just going to go on top of your taco. So whenever we're actually like serving these up, really what I do, and one of my favorite things about this just dish or this kind of dinner style in general, do the cilantro, the lime, and the cotija cheese, I just set that in the middle of the table. I kind of go about this a little different. I'm just going to basically have this ready whenever my wife gets back from kickboxing class. I'm going to set the pan right in the middle of the table. Just going to make up a bunch of tortillas. And then it's basically just going to eat as you go. And you can kind of talk. You're eating for a little bit longer period of time. So you're not just scarfing food down. You're actually like talking, pacing. It actually takes almost a little longer to eat this than it does to actually cook it itself. It's very quick. And so while everything's happening, this is also the step is where we're going to get either our blender, our food processor, or just kind of a bowl that you can kind of mash and mix everything up, something in. Leanne, yes. So if this is you, I'm so sorry. But yes, if you actually think cilantro tastes like soap, yes, that is actually a gene that does it. I'm not sure
That's
why.
so weird. 100%. I'm like, why does this taste so weird? And everybody loves it.
Yeah.
So
no, it's just
good to know.
goes with why everybody's different. You're just wrong, but that's okay.
I know it's terrible. And then I forget to take it off, and then I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, so that is something that you can put on top of. So I'm just going to stir this around. Nothing should be burning. Nothing should be going around. Right now, you'll notice a lot of the fluid level is going down. The onions are actually just kind of starting to absorb all that since we kind of sweated them out. Sorry, I have a beagle. He's a beagle. Hold on. I also live in an apartment in the middle of the city, so there's noises, there's stuff that beagles don't like. We're gonna take a couple more minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Oh no, Brittany also has the gene too. Oh no. So actually a really good kind of alternative if you wanted to really kind of change it up, you could actually do a little citrus and like a mint as well. So if you like grated some like orange zest over some mint leaves themselves and actually use that as garnish on top of your taco, it's crazy how similar that is of getting the citrus out of cilantro. A lot of people say that's why it tastes like soap, or you know, adult audiences, but some people find the taste of like a gin and tonic to also kind of be a little soapy, and it's for that same reason. It's kind of that okay. So as you can see on here, it's actually turning into more of like a dehydrated kind of sauce where I move the spatula and it actually just kind of picks up and takes everything away. So we're actually getting there. So a lot of the onion, a lot of the tomatoes have actually absorbed all of the juice, and everything should be pretty soft. You should be able to like push down on an onion and it'll kind of like cut in half with just a little wooden spoon. And if there's anybody out there that's like, oh my gosh, this recipe is so hard, like that, we're already like almost done. It's gonna come to, it's magic.
It's smelling good.
Look how Factor works. Once it's going in, you're like done.
I just realized I have some diced green chilies. Do you think those would be a good substitute for the peppers, or probably not?
Sure. I mean, those are gonna be a little hot, but yeah, I think so. It's tacos, man. You put it on a tortilla. It could be, you could have diced up Spam if you want. Let's top it up. Let's put it in a taco. All right. So with that, yeah. So mine, I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna kill the heat. Wow, there's too many. All right, so I'm actually gonna take my pan, and I'm actually gonna put all this into my food processor. And it smells so good. You should have the kind of that little smoky, chili type of smell to it. All right, throw my lid on. I'm just gonna pulse it. If it's really not kind of mixing together or something while I'm blending, you can add a little bit of olive oil or whatever oil you chose to use. Okay, so yeah, I didn't just hold it down and kind of just let it go nuts. I just wanted to kind of keep it into a sauce. So it should actually look like kind of the thickest salsa you've ever seen. It's like, so it should just be like a kind of solid almost. So I'm just gonna take that. If anybody had more, curious what it looked like, it's just all kind of just minced together. It should still be kind of thick. It should actually kind of have a little bit of like a.
Am I supposed to put the fire diced tomato yet?
Sorry, say that again, Renee.
The fire diced tomatoes. Go
Yeah.
here, right?
Yes. Yep. So put that in with your chipotle peppers in themselves.
Okay.
Okay. So that once all that's back in there, I'm going to turn the heat back on to about medium. And this is actually where I'm going to add in all of my shredded chicken. Another reason why I also didn't add salt while I'm going, I salted my chicken while cooking.
Really quick, sorry. We were pulsing. What was the next step after we pulsed?
Put the sauce back into your pan.
Okay.
heat back on medium, and then add your chicken. And again, chicken, like, yeah, this is a perfect example. Whenever I said like kind of roughly diced up, like, or shredded, they should just be some pretty good sized pieces in themselves. Okay. If you have them, this is a great thing of where tongs come in. If you have tongs, you can keep using your spatula if you want, but really just kind of make sure that the chicken is touching on everything. But yeah, I salted my chicken before I cooked it. Since I sous vide'd, that salt kind of stays in with everything. But so now, as far as the filling goes, that's really it. So at this point, you can actually kind of taste to see if you want to add any salt. So to do that, you know, you take a spoon. If not, I use the back of a spoon so I don't actually take up a lot. And taste, this is also where, you know, you can kind of test and see if you want it a little bit hotter, you can actually add in some of the juice that you have, that adobo sauce left in there. I am going to actually add a couple little pinches of salt. You don't have one of these thingies, get one. They're the greatest like thing in the world. It's like a little magnetic lid and a little salt dish. So good, so helpful. Give that a little stir. And really, like this could be it. Like this would be, we're done basically at that point. Once this is going, if you wanted to, or you kind of wanted to like stall for time, you could either kill this heat and kind of keep it on the stove till everybody's ready, heat it back up. If you wanted to make a lot of this, throw that right into a freezer bag and freeze it. Just like that, you could be done. You can make multiple portions of this. But now that that's done, or that's going, then we're going to pretty much just get ready for our tortillas and tacos. All right, but we're not rushing. We don't have to rush. Does anybody have questions on where we are? What's going on? Is anybody stressing out right now? Well, cool. I don't hear any Gordon Ramsay screaming at each other, so I guess all of our kitchens are in happy places.
Nothing in chat, Miles, so must be everybody's doing okay.
Great. Great. So yeah, I'm just going to turn down the heat to low. Barely hear it kind of simmering out. I see a little bit of the juice from the chicken kind of coming out, mixing with everything. But that's about what it should look like. It shouldn't look really fine or anything like that. It should kind of have some bigger chunks to it. But getting back to my story a little bit, as everyone's kind of finishing up and simmering down, right about the time that I was 20, I realized that being active and focusing on my fitness was actually really helping my hemophilia. And I started taking, I changed my major in college. I kind of switched over to athletic fitness and physical therapy. At the same time, my wife thought it was a good idea to get diagnosed with MS. And so I kind of switched and had a minor in nutrition. And the more and more that I would kind of keep reading about it or looking into it or having to do research study papers about how food affects our body, also how much food affects our mind, and what food does as far as an inflammatory response in our body and how that affects people with MS, I started just linking it more and more and more to hemophilia and what inflammatory responses our body get. Like, can anybody think of one inflammatory response that someone has with hemophilia? Has anybody ever had a bleed before with hemophilia? So that's an inflammatory response in our body. That's our body having an injury, our platelets and everything freaking out, going to an area, filling up and swelling. That's inflammation. And I just kind of started tying all of that in together on how it's all linked. So for that reason, I wouldn't say I have a restrictive diet at all. I kind of eat everything. but into certain paces. I just have more of an appreciation for when I do eat beef. I need to understand that tomorrow, like I'm going to feel it. I'm going to actually feel a little bit different. But going back to fitness and stuff in general, the more active I am, the better I feel. The more I actually am leaving my house, running around, the better I am. The more walks that I take with my dog. I love rock climbing, so I'm rock climbing 2 to 3 to 4 times a week. In 2019, right before the world shut down, luckily, I was able to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest mountain in Africa, at about 19,500 feet with no bleeds. I'm currently about 4.5 years bleed free, severe hemophilia B, and I attribute that a lot to what I'm eating and how I'm moving my body, and how that all just kind of ties in together. It definitely doesn't get easier. If anything, I just kind of get more and more to prove, and it gets harder and harder with how much more I have to focus on my body to feel great. Kind of rudimentary on backstory on me. Does anybody have any questions for that? If not, then we're going to throw some tacos on the stove and get them heated up and get ready. Okay. Just show of hands, thumbs up in the chat or anything. How are we looking for our chicken tinga? I see thumbs up. Cool, cool. I see you running around. I see another. Awesome. Okay, so we're almost either all kind of at this stage or around here. We would know how to get to this stage if you're not. If so, to rinse off my tongs. But, all right. So this is all preference. Since I have a gas stove and I love like a slightly charred kind of roasted tortilla, that's what I'm going to use. If you want, you can also grab another pan, any size pan, just kind of as long as it's kind of fitting a corn tortilla. I have like the 5-inch ones. I'm just going to turn my stove right on. Grab with my tongs. You can do this with your fingers. I wouldn't recommend it. Burns aren't very fun. Ask me how I know. I'm just going to throw that right on fire and kind of let that go. You'll start hearing it kind of crackle or just kind of react. I don't know if this is visible too much in Taco Vision. All right, so I'm starting to see it raise up. Flip. Now it's warm, so at this point now it's just kind of get a little char to it. There we go. But yes, this is something if you wanted to be completely gluten-free, eat corn tortillas. I like corn tortillas. One, I prefer the flavor of them. Two, nutritionally, they're a lot better. Well, certain ones you get actually, if you can find like a restaurant style corn tortilla, or you can actually just make it yourself, grind up your own maize, it's great. Just nutritionally themselves, they just have a little bit more vegetable kick to them. It's just corn. So I have my roasted tortilla. Because I roasted it, it's not super bendable, but it still will. It won't fall apart on me. And then to plate this, let's go steak some chicken. And again, this is where I would just heat up a bunch of these tortillas. I would get them into a kind of a big stack plate. I would bring that chicken tinga down and just put it right on the table and just have people make these as they go. Here, since that's good, actually I'm going to switch this back. Great. So you can see. So add a little bit of cotija on top of that, and then I'm going to add some cilantro. little bit of lime. And then you have an avocado. This is where you can kind of put your avocado on.
Everybody keeping up with Miles okay? Anybody have any questions for him?
Not at all. Keeping up.
Not at all.
Julian, Dad's doing good. He still has all his.
So Miles, if you want to add some lettuce or to it, you can add whatever you want extra.
Yeah. If you wanted to add rice, beans, if you wanted to add whatever. Again, this doesn't even have to be chicken. I didn't really ask if there was anybody doing this vegetarian. If you wanted to do this with tofu, my preference would be tempeh. You can absolutely do that. And I'm just going to take a bit of avocado, place it up on top, and that's about it. That's pretty much finished. It should look kind of messy. It should kind of look like kind of big, green, bright, and that's my version of a chicken tinga taco. I guess I'll try it real quick, see if it's actually real food.
Quality control, Miles, quality control.
Yeah. I didn't get the cheese, so I'm gonna put regular pork cheese next time.
Great. I actually forgot to put onion. I was like, wow, this is kind of missing something. I wanted to add a little bit of raw onion onto it too.
What temperature should we be doing the tortillas at?
On gas or like a stove?
Gas.
So I just put it on high heat.
Hi,
And
okay.
I really just kind of make sure you kind of have them moving and you're kind of flipping them kind of frequently. But yeah, you could even do them 2 at a time and just go. Really, if they're kind of store-bought or in like a packaged tortilla, they should actually go pretty quick. You're really just eating them up. Yeah, perfect. Ziva, that's exactly kind of the vibe that I strive for with this. It's put everything down in the middle.
Flip this a couple of times, make sure that it's not getting too hard. You're gonna keep an eye on that, okay? You flip that like every 10 seconds-ish. Doesn't have to be exactly 10 seconds, but about.
None of these ingredients you should ever really be concerned. Maybe cooking but again, it is the first time having it. It's a pretty bold cheese, but you don't have to feel guilty eating any of this. There should be no diet really restricting any of these foods. They all have such limited ingredients in them, like a corn tortilla. That's just kind of what I strive for when I'm eating. I want to just eat a lot of good food. One, it has to taste good. Two, I have to like it. I have to be behind it. I have to trust that my joints aren't going to feel a little worse after I eat them. And I want to nourish my body with a lot of different flavors. I love cooking different ethnicities of food, whether that's Indian, Thai, Vietnamese, anything. I love just cooking differences in general and seeing what the world eats. Yeah, that's me. How's everybody looking with tacos? I see a couple people eating. We'll wrap it up. Julian, how's everybody doing?
All right, so for building the taco, I think we're finally ready to do that point.
Okay.
What do we're putting the chicken on the tortilla and then the cheese and the lime and the onion and the cilantro, right? Was there anything else?
You nailed it.
Okay, cool.
You can add a little bit of the lime if you want.
Yeah.
I love scallions, so I put a little bit of scallions on mine.
Right.
So right, Miles, you can whatever you like in it, you can add your personal touch, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to make your own salsa, that could be where it goes on top. I don't have it this time, but I make like I think really good like mango habanero slaw to it. Where you add that on top of you just eat up. So really cooking the chicken itself, however you chose to do that, is about the longest part of this. Without instructing or going through or listening in, you can slap this together in like 20 minutes. So Destiny, what's the difference between pico and salsa? Pico is usually going to be more like kind of a rough chop, difference of vegetables themselves. Salsa typically is either stewed down at one point to kind of build out and kind of soften up the sauce itself. Yeah.
So Pico is more raw.
Yes, yeah. Usually Pico is all kind of just raw stuff chopped up really well. Salsa is usually cooked down to some point and then chilled, or it's at least blended or something together, and then still having kind of chunks or something to it.
Nice. Thank you.
Both are great. Both are good.
Uh-oh, I think Julian's ready for a bite.
I already did mine. I love more.
They want to see you, come on. Come in. They want to see you try it. Come on, you made it. Let's see what you think.
Yeah.
Julian also has autism, so he's got some sensory issues. So we'll see what he thinks. Come on, bud. Take your first bite. Let's see what they want to know what you think. Come
It's
on, give it a
okay.
try. Give it a try.
You have to let us
Tell
know.
what you think. If you don't like it, that's okay. Just take a bite. Tell us what you think.
Yep.
Very good, Miles.
Yes,
So
sir.
tell me what you think about it.
Thumbs down.
You don't like it? Okay, I'm gonna try it.
Dad's going in.
Flavors, but it's a different take that shows it's incredibly easy to do something other than just like ground beef taco seasoning style tacos. That was my wife's family's always like, hey, it's taco night, and I would get really excited to go over, and it's just kind of that that's thrown together. It takes about just as long. All right, let's see some of these questions. So how did I sous vide? So it's actually, so I typed it in there. So it's just a precision cooker. So I use an Innova, non-sponsored or anything, of course. So
Julian's little brother's gonna try now.
Ooh, good deal.
So this turns on, and then basically you just set it to a desired temperature that you want. So chicken, I would do about 150 degrees.
Pretty good, huh?
I put this chicken breast in a Ziploc bag, add a little bit of chicken stock to it, and I add some seasonings. So like I said, I added some of the adobo sauce to it. You submerge the bag, let all the air come out of it. Ideally, you vacuum it, and then you let this go. I let this go for about 3 hours. The cool thing about sous vide, if you're someone that always worried about, cooking chicken or cooking steaks, you never want it to be like overcooked or undercooked, you will never overcook something at a certain temperature. So if you set water to 140 degrees, you could leave it in there for 24 hours. It will never go above 20 or 140 degrees. So you can't overcook anything. The longer you put something in there, the more kind of the muscle tissue will break down and it'll actually get more tender, but it can be too long. Like I did a pork shoulder. I actually had it in for 18 hours. And it was like the cheapest pork shoulder I could possibly find. And it was the most like tender, great piece of meat ever. I recommend it if you're someone that likes kind of slow cooking, you want to make like a chili or something, do this for the meat, set it in before you go to work. This one's like Bluetooth and I can control it wherever I go, but it's great. It keeps it really juicy and good.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, great salsa, Miles.
Thanks so much.
Julian, do you want to ask Miles any questions? Do you play any sports?
Julian, Miles is another kid in Ophelia that's here, and since we're done with the actual cooking, why don't you see if you can find anything in common with them? Here, why don't you go sit on the couch and talk?
Yes, I will be absolutely around for anything.
Now you need a little bit of cilantro. Just a little bit of that. Oh, wait.
Julian, do you play baseball?
No.
Take one of these.
What do you play? What do you do for fun?
Mostly play video games,
Video
watch.
games. Oh yeah. I play a lot of video games. I played a lot of video games. I would have bleeds as a kid. I wanted to be able to rest up, and I haven't stopped. That was your age.
Sit down and enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to.
What are you talking about?
Oh. You're upside down, dude.
So I bought the pre-cooked chicken already diced. Yeah, now, so
There's something
you
about
just put it there. So if you're in a hurry, you can buy the pre-cooked chicken already diced and then just throw it there.
those store-bought rotisserie chickens. Like
Yeah.
usually they're like $5 to $7 or something. Yeah,
That's the one that.
you can make like 2 or 3 different meals with that. I love those. They're great. So that's kind of one of those things too. Like I think everything, at least for me in my store here in Atlanta, I bought everything because somehow I actually didn't have any of these ingredients. I think I spent like $25 or $26 total. Yeah, so if you buy a rotisserie chicken, you could make this whole thing in like 20 to 30 minutes. If you just kind of bust down, went for it, tore that apart. Like my favorite little quick Taco Tuesday ever. We have a Taco Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yep.
Fun thing too, how we made the sauce of actually like putting the onions and the garlic and then adding the
You don't have
tomatoes.
to do it on camera.
If you want to make your own pasta
Can you
sauce,
sit up?
spaghetti sauce, same exact process how to do it. Just don't use really Mexican ingredients themselves.
Try to get like a bite of everything. So I added a lot of lime and stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Dropped a lot of stuff.
This is mine.
Yeah, I made it perfect.
Chew it, chew. Chew it up and give it a try. Please just chew it up. Think of it as a different flavor and see what you think. What'd you think of that bite? No? Okay.
A lot of acquired tastes going on. These are all a little different than standard American diet.
Trying to
All
expand.
else fails, just take 2 tortillas and put some cheese and put them together.
Real cheap. No, quick
Doesn't do
texture.
melted cheeses.
No.
You're done with the video chat, Julian. We can end it. We don't have to keep going. All right. Thank you guys. I think we're going to take off. I appreciate the lesson.
Thanks
And,
for
Have
joining.
a great night. Thanks for joining.
If you
Bye,
guys,
Julian.
Thank you for coming.
if the association has any like kid-centric things where they can just like kind of hang out and talk, I think he'd really enjoy meeting other kids with hemophilia. If anybody has like something on the docket for that in the future, we just joined the New England Hemophilia Association to do this. So
Yeah,
we'd
if you
love
want to wait 1 sec, I'll just put our events webpage in there and I'll let you look at it. I'm just gonna put the link in for you.
I did take a look at the events, but like I wasn't sure what of those events might be a 9-year-old with autism friendly.
Yeah, sure.
And really, I would love just a way for him to meet and talk to kids about his age that have hemophilia. I think that'd be really good for him.
Yeah, if you want to put your email in the chat, if you want, I can send you an email. Just if you
Sure.
want to chat myself, and I can give your email to Rich, our executive director, who also has hemophilia, and he can put you in touch with some programs that we're doing in the future.
Sounds good. I also made a post on Reddit in the hemophilia subreddit about this, but I haven't actually checked the responses yet.
So Julian, your son has autism too?
Say that again.
He has autism?
Yeah.
I think I know a family here in Florida that it's not a B, I think it's a hemophilia A patient that he also has a little bit of autism.
Yeah,
If
that
you
might be
want
great.
to get in contact with them, I can talk with them and maybe you can talk each other as a family.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I put my email address in the chat, so before you end, you can grab that. That'd be great. You can feel free to reach out to me. Anybody
Okay.
who has an idea or people that he could connect with, I think that'd be great.
Yeah,
Are you-
Carol Firth had a great idea. It's our family camp, but it's in the summer, so it's still a few
Mhm.
months away. But it's a really, really great opportunity for kids with hemophilia of all ages.
Mhm.
And that's what you were saying you did, Chef Guy. I already forgot your name. Sorry.
Yeah, Miles.
Miles.
Yeah, I started
Miles.
going to camp. Yeah, and I just
That's cool.
never left ever, and I still
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, my
That's
son
awesome.
did it too. He's 26 now, but he used to go to camp when he was 11, 10 years old until 16.
Nice.
And then after that, he became also a counselor.
Hey, Julian, do you think you'd want to go to summer camp with other kids with hemophilia?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. I
I'll
got
make
a
sure
search.
to-
Miles, I can give you some of
information.
the,
Better
not
friends
Miles.
there.
Michael, I can give you some of that information too.
Cool, thank you.
We'll chat.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. All right,
Facebook?
bye, guys.
as well? Are you on
Thanks so much,
Facebook?
Michael. Bye, Julian.
I mean, I'm technically
Bye,
on
Julian.
Facebook, but I hate it and never use it. So
No, well, there's a
not a good resource for me.
hemophilia moms where you probably
Mhm.
could connect.
Yeah, that would mean actually going on Facebook. I'd rather not. So
Well, if you meet somebody, if you put something out there, you would probably be able to connect offline.
sure. Yeah. All right.
That's
Appreciate
fair.
it. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Well, I did put in the chat, if anyone took any pictures of your dish before you ate it, feel free to email them to me. I'd love to see them. But thank you so much, Miles. This is so great.
Funny too.
Well, I'm gonna take a picture with my phone and I will send it to Hope and then Hope can.
Yeah,
send it to you
perfect.
guys.
Phil
Okay.
has my number, yep. But I also put our events URL in the chat. If anyone wants to look at our upcoming events, we do have winter camp, couples retreat, and consumer med coming up in the next few months, and then our red tie soiree in May. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you again, Miles. This was great. We always love our Taco Tuesday events. But if anyone doesn't have any other questions, we'll let you enjoy your tacos.
Thank you.
Good. Have
I
a
think
great
we're good.
evening, everyone.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Ivana.
Bye.